Okay. All right. It is 6:30. This is the Land Use Committee for Los Osos. And I am going to do roll call. Molly? Here. Trish Bartell, present. Gary? Jim? Present. Brad?
Here.
Becky?
Here.
Jacob?
Present.
Larry?
Present.
Okay, so we're only missing one. I do not have any chairperson announcements. Do we have any council member announcements tonight?
And are these just like statements? Something we
It could
wanted
be a
to.
statement,
Okay,
but it needs to be related to land use.
Well, of course. I wanted to talk about hot air balloons tonight. No, I'm sorry, I wasn't able to listen to the last LOCAC meeting. We've had that horrible flu in our household, but I didn't know if at the general meeting, if anything came up about fire in regards to Los Osos and the planning, or, just some of us has brought up at Board of Supervisors meetings that with the push for building in our town, what is the push for updating, our services to make sure that we are actually able to handle that many more people. And in the same line is, I know there's, big push to make Los Osos a tourist town. And how do we handle that in the case of an evacuation for any kind of emergency? Because, we have two exits, and if one's burning, there'll be one. And there's also big equipment that would have to be brought in from San Luis. The big bulldozer I hear is out at the airport. So I just wondered if any of that came up.
I was not personally at the meeting. I was having a anniversary. Those LOCAC members who were, can you speak to that?
Sure, I can talk real quick.
Go ahead.
So we didn't have anything specific on emergency planning or anything like that. We did have a gentleman who's been doing some training, I guess would be the best thing to call it, with Cabrillo Estates. He's a forestry ranger of Southern California. So he talked about the fires down south.
Right. And is that Jose? Is his name Jose?
Jose Torres?
No, I don't think it was.
And then
I don't think it was him.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't Jose. That doesn't sound right. I'd have to look back at the agenda. But the other thing we talked about, though, we have talked about is, and actually Gary Katayama has brought this up, is actually forming a emergency response subcommittee in LOCAC to work with the CSD and other emergency organizations on that kind of plan. So that was brought up, and I don't think we made a final decision on it, but that was one of the things that was to kind of look at all these different issues.
Okay. And then I attended that Office of Emergency Services. It was supposed to be a public workshop. I don't know if any of you were aware of that last month. In regards to it being a workshop, and it wasn't recorded, which is too bad, but they were reporting on, all sorts of different issues in regards to emergency services. I think there were only like 6 public members at that meeting, and it was held during the day. And I don't know if that's something that LOCAC can push for. It's like, if you're doing a countywide workshop for the public and it's for emergency services, and it's right after the giant fires in the midst of it, that things like that are held at a time when people can't come and it's really not announced to anyone to be there, which was kind of sad, because there were a lot of things. There is a survey you can take. I don't know if the deadline has passed for that, but it's where you can say, yeah, I feel like our community is well taken care of. If we were to have a huge wildfire or conflagration like, Palisades and the Eaton fire were, what happens in our town? What happens to in regards to, I don't know if you guys know that our fire hydrants are all different flow rates. Like ours up on Highland, are medium rate. They're not all full flow. And so I think that's something important that people should know about. And maybe if there is a new committee, they can look into that and make sure there's, where you can find out that information because it's not readily available.
Thank you. That's very true.
And the report about wildfire preparation was by Ken Delfino.
Oh, yeah.
He's a retired
Oh, yeah.
CAL FIRE person.
I know Ken,
Yeah.
or know who he is.
But he talked more about the hardening of structures, like non-combustible siding on your house and removing trees and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was instrumental up here in Cabrillo to get us fire-wise.
Right. And, Emily Miggins and I helped do the big chipping event that was up there and we worked with
Good.
Ken on that. But yeah, there's a lot of work in this town that needs to be done. I have neighbors that have just been told they had to remove every plant within 5 feet of their house to be able to get their insurance. So,
Yeah.
Very true.
yeah.
Yeah, well, maybe we, have Cal Fire come to one of our meetings and talk about, the response for Los Osos because they're responsible for our community.
Yeah,
Yep.
Paul, the battalion chief is great. I'm sure Paul would.
Yeah, the Cal Fire's not real big on having to go to, send someone to these meetings. I mean, they have to pay for
Well,
that.
if we ask nicely.
I think if we
Yeah, no,
ask
it'd
nicely,
be-
because Paul has met with me numerous times, so I think, maybe we could, get him to come, because it's on Zoom, so,
Right, right. But
so
we have,
it's worth an ask.
it is worth an ask. I mean, do we even have like at the CSD and stuff, the fire people are often not there. Are they coming to the general LOCAC meetings?
We have not asked them to come to our general LOCAC meetings.
Okay.
But do you mean CSD or do you mean CAL FIRE?
Well, I'm talking about fire and not
Oh.
necessarily have to be the head guy from CAL FIRE, but didn't there used to be someone just from our
Not in the last 10 years.
okay.
Okay, all right. Are there any public comments for items that are not on the agenda? No. All right, then let's go to minor use permit, coastal development permit for a 477 square foot commercial retail tenant space that will be turned into a wine bar. And I think that would be Rob, who is going to talk to us about the project. Rob, I'm going to ask you to unmute.
Hello.
Trish, can I ask just a clarifying question, so it's just for my
Yes.
education? So if they're not, they're renting a space at an already existing building.
Correct.
And so the tenant then is responsible for the minor use permit, or is it the owner of the building?
That's a very good question.
We can ask Rob because I believe he's
Okay.
going to be the tenant.
Yeah,
'Cause
I'm-
I don't, this is the first I've seen of a tenant asking for
Yeah,
a
me
minor
too.
use permit.
Yes, so I am going through all of the permitting process on my own.
Hey, Rob, do you mind to show us your face?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I don't go to Zoom very often. Let's see here.
Yeah, it depends on what you look like.
It's just hard to just look at a blank square, and it
I
should be on your bottom left.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is.
It says video on your bottom left. There you go.
There
he
There you
is.
go.
Got it.
Hi, Rob.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, Rob.
Hello.
Hi.
And,
Yeah, I didn't
and
know I'd
Rob,
be speaking here. I just was lucky even to hear about this. I talked to the owners, Joel and Christina, and they had no idea about this. But happy to be here.
So,
Go ahead.
do you want to just tell us a little bit about your project, just like the size and what you're planning to do there?
Yes, we make our wine and cider in San Luis Obispo, and we've been doing so since 2019. And we want to become, oh, it looks like here's Christina here. We want to become more of the community, so we want to open up a place for people to come and be able to buy the bottles to take home. And part of that would be opening bottles and pouring them to taste as well. So this would be a wine bar, I think is what this is listed as, but it'd be more so a tasting room,
Mhm.
with also retail bottle shop options.
And what's the brand?
Durham Cider and Wine Company.
Okay.
So it's similar. We had one not maybe a few years back that was up on South Bay and Los Valley Road,
Mhm.
Brain, and I forget the other winemaker.
Baker and Brain.
That was a tasting room.
So basically what you're going to do is just remodel the space, correct? And then turn it into a tasting room.
Yes, correct.
Any questions from council on this project?
There's no intention of food or anything being served there?
No food.
Okay.
And it
Are
would
there-
only be our wines and no other wines, just ours that we make.
Okay. Any major modifications to the building?
No, there will be a 3/4 partition wall, non-load bearing, and then the addition of a sink to wash glassware. So no bar, just one long table and then shelving.
Oh, okay.
And
Hey,
then,
Rob.
what, oh.
just
what
had a
kind
quick-
of hour- Oh. go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
Becky.
I'm sorry. I just had a quick question on like what would the days and the hours be like?
Yeah, I think in the beginning it would be less than what we would, ask to be open. So I think Thursday to Monday would be, the idea to eventually get to, but in the beginning it'd probably be Saturday, Sunday, and then, farmers market Monday.
Uh-huh. Okay, thank you.
And is it evening hours or daytime or?
Yeah, it would be, well, take the Saturday, Sunday, Monday, to start, idea. Yeah, it would be probably say noon to 6 or 7.
Okay.
So Rob, maybe you can, I don't know if you heard my question before you came on, but I was wondering, because you're just going to be a tenant in that building, correct?
Correct.
So why do you have to get a minor's use permit?
Because because of Baywood Park, there was something about, because I had just applied for a building construction permit, and then they came back and said I needed this minor use permit, coastal development permit, because the space falls in Baywood.
I think it's the coastal zone,
Correct.
because it's in the coastal zone.
And Jim, they're changing the use of the space from a food prep place to a open public bar, so being in the coastal zone, every time you change the use, you need to get the local community involved in it.
I mean, because it's zoned for commercial
Mhm.
and it's a commercial operation. I just think we're going to get pretty impacted if we have to look at every single person that's changing shops in Los Osos.
Right. You know what? I think that's one more question I'll get to my list for the Department of Planning to determine, why the poor guy even needs a permit if he's just remodeling.
But to answer that, we had the hotel that changed businesses,
Right.
Bill Lee's property, again, when they change business, they change the use of it. It's also water use that changes.
Yeah.
As if it was a clothing shop, it would be one kind of water use. Being a bar, a wine tasting thing, there are different things that go on just because the business changes. If it was the same business, if he was going to just do food prep, in there, like the other business that was previously in there, then he wouldn't need a permit. But that's part of
Yeah,
being in the coastal zone, you know, every little change affects the whole community. And that's why they want why they send it to LOCAC.
Aren't you going in the unit though? That was the Los Osos Pest Control?
Oh, sorry. You must have, I'm going to ask you to unmute again.
Sorry.
Hi,
I've got the dog drinking water. I tried to mute it.
hi. This is Christina Garcia. I'm one of the owners of the building. Yeah, I used to be the a pest control, and they shared it with the Chet's tube lights for years. And then that's when we purchased it. So I don't know when, at what point it was a food prep place.
Yeah,
Okay.
I don't remember a food prep place being in there.
Me either.
It may be that was the last records that the county had from who knows how long ago.
Right,
It says right on the application.
Yeah, I saw that, and I
It's
thought
on
that
the
was
agenda.
fascinating.
That's all I know, you know. But
Yep.
that's fine. That's fine. I don't see any issues with this project.
Can I get a motion to approve this project?
I'll do that.
And I'll second it.
Can I change that and make a motion to send this to the consent agenda of LOCAC for their
That
next?
sounds fine.
Yeah,
Fine with me.
I'll still second it.
Okay. Consent agenda. Becky and Jim. 1 and 2. Okay.
Do we have to
Um,
vote on it?
Can I get a vote, please? All raise your hands. Unanimous. Woohoo!
I
Um,
look forward to tasting some of the cider.
Yeah, that's a great thing to have down
oh,
in Baywood.
absolutely.
I hope you guys do really, really well. I mean, you got the people at the hotels there now and everything, so
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's right.
It should be a great thing. Rod, the next meeting is going to be at the LOCAC meeting, which is the 4th Thursday of the month at 6:30. And this will be on the consent agenda. So it should pass, but if you would like to be at the meeting, just in case there's questions that have not been answered tonight, that would be great.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, thank you. Good luck with your project.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And then I do not have any business items, so I call that we can adjourn at 6:58 p.m. Is that all right with everybody?
That's quick. I have 6:48.
Okay,
6:48. There we go.
6:48 adjourn.
Good to see everybody.
All
Good to
right.
see
see you
y'all.
guys.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you
Have a
guys
great
for
evening,
being here
everybody.
tonight.
Okay, bye.